My name is Moses Small. I'm 18. I was born to Kenyan parents in Birmingham, Alabama, but adopted into a white family in Portland, Maine. So my whole life has just been kind of this back and forth, bouncing back between black and white communities. I had a really happy childhood. I was a very happy kid. And the one thing that stuck out was that I didn't look like my parents. I didn't look like my older brother growing up because obviously they are white and I'm black. And that was never a huge barrier in our family. They were always extremely tolerant, extremely accepting, and I learned so much from them. There are a few times I can think of pretty easily where I was pretty keenly aware of my race as it was different from my family's. In one instance, my mom and I were taking the bus down here to Boston from Maine, and one person refused to believe that I was her son. It took them a little while to understand that I was an adopted kid. I've gotten the talks when I was a kid where I shouldn't run around with the little paintball guns like the other kids because police are very wary of black teenagers and black men. The experience has been a joy. Obviously, there's so much love with both sides of my family, adopted and biological, a very close connection. And it's a very nuanced experience because I'm learning about my family in Alabama. I'm Snapchat friends with my little brother and my little sister, and I'm discovering this whole family in Kenya that I've never met before. I have 98 plus family members. My biological grandmother was telling me in Nairobi, and it's going to be an experience. I'm still figuring it out, but hopefully I'll be able to visit these places someday and get to know my roots more. It's more of this kind of amorphous, ambiguous space that I'm increasingly well learning how to navigate. When I was a kid, it was much more pronounced. I had no idea what to make of myself because other people around me couldn't process the situation either. I didn't really have much to grab onto sometimes. Kids would say everything from I didn't walk black, I didn't talk black. One person said the way I speak makes me sound like a white boy and all these things, and I realized that none of that matters because I'm a black American. That is part of who I am, and that's going to be part of who I am regardless of which family I'm talking to. So, being an African American, being very visibly an African American, I am forced into an odd space a lot of the time. I'll have very interesting conversations in class, very thought provoking discussions on race, but when people want a traditionally black perspective, they can't exactly come to me because I've never been raised in a black community. I have not lived in a black community, and by virtue of being a different person, having a different upbringing as so many others, I can't speak on the traditional black perspective largely because that's not what I've grown up in. With all of that being the case, I feel a very firm understanding of myself. I feel grounded in myself and my own identity as an individual, as a black individual, but not necessarily tied to the same connotations that many associate with being black or African American. And so I won't be able to speak on the same things that a lot of my African American peers will, but we share a common experience, and that is our heritage, our skin tone. And those things are more important than any of the actions, ways of speaking, ways of dressing, all of the superficial things that some may call black actions, which I find very limiting. And so I want to see that common experience grow and just acknowledge multiple black narratives that may be straying from the beaten path. And hopefully, when we acknowledge those, we'll have a more holistic picture of blackness. Because I am black, I'm a part of blackness, but just not in the way that most people would think of when they initially see me.